Now to President Biden speaking in Virginia about the documents case we've been telling you about all day.
As many of you know, this was an exhaustive investigation going back literally more than 40 years. 40 years when I became a United States Senator when I was a kid. I was a kid, 29 years old. Special counsel acknowledged I cooperated completely. I did not throw up any roadblocks. I sought no delays. In fact, I was so determined to give special counsel what they needed, I went forward with a 5-hour in-person interview over the 2 days of October the 8th and 9th last year, even though Israel had just been attacked by Hamas on the 7th. I was in the middle of handling an international crisis, but I was especially pleased to see the special counsel make clear the stark differences between this case and Donald Trump. As the special counsel wrote, and I quote, "Several material distinctions between Mr. Trump's case and Mr. Biden's are clear." And by the way, this is a Republican counsel. Most notably, after given multiple chances, this is a continuation of the quote, he returned classified documents and avoided prosecution. Mr. Trump allegedly did the opposite. This is the continuing quote. According to the indictment, he has not only refused to return documents for many months, he also obstructed justice by enlisting others to destroy evidence and then lie about it. In contrast, Mr. Biden turned in classified documents to the National Archives, the Department of Justice, consented to a search of multiple locations, including his homes, and sat for a voluntary interview, and in other ways cooperated with the investigation. That's the distinction, among others. The bottom line is the special counsel in my case decided against moving forward with any charges, and this matter is now closed. I'll continue to do what I've always done, stay focused on my job, like you do, of my job of being president. That means going to work with all of you every single day I can. Thank you for being great partners. Just this week, House Democrats showed how united you are. You defeated Mayorkas' impeachment resolution. And I had no doubt he'd get out of his hospital bed and come in and vote. No, I'm not joking. I talked to him a little bit. Not after, not before. You defeated the Israeli-only supplemental. They weren't easy votes for you, but all of you came through in a big way. All of this just shows that when we're united, we can beat House Republicans in their cynical political games. And you've been incredible partners that have delivered historic results for the American people. I've traveled to many of your districts. I see the results on how you came through one of the toughest periods.
All right, that's President Biden speaking in Virginia. That was a planned speech that he just topped off with his response to the special counsel's delivering of their report this afternoon. I want to bring in ABC News senior reporter Catherine Falders. Catherine, it seemed like the president there was sticking to prompter and to a script that had been written for him. What did you think of his response? Obviously, he cherry-picked what he liked from that report.
That's right, and he was reading, it appeared, from the statement that he released earlier, that paper statement that he released earlier. Biden just said on camera there, similar to what we heard before, that this was an exhaustive investigation going back more than 40 years, that he essentially cooperated with this investigation, that he sat for interviews over 2 days on October 8th and 9th of last year. Even though Israel had just been attacked on October 7th, he was in the middle of handling an international crisis. This is what he focused on. But interestingly, he added, and he was sure to add and build on his statement earlier. He made the point of comparing this to former President Trump, who, of course, is facing 40 criminal counts in the classified documents investigation in Florida for his mishandling of classified documents. We know that the Hur report, looking at Biden, found that Biden willfully retained and disclosed classified information after his vice presidency as he was a private citizen. Of course, the Hur report is not recommending charges and said they wouldn't recommend charges even if Biden wasn't a sitting president. But Biden focusing specifically on former President Trump and that language that Hur uses in the report to point out the differences between Biden and Trump, specifically that Trump is alleged to have obstructed justice as it related to the government's efforts to retrieve those classified documents from Mar-a-Lago. Trump was subpoenaed. Trump is accused of lying to his lawyers and misleading the FBI and federal investigators and essentially saying that these documents were his and hiding them. The special counsel in that case, in the Trump case, it appears still doesn't know for sure whether they even have all of the classified documents. So that seemed to be Biden's focus there at the top of his remarks. Biden said, this is case closed. He was glad to see that they were recommending no charges. But the bottom line here is that there are damning facts in this report, the willful retention and specifically what Biden retained after he left office. But again, important that there are very distinct differences between former President Trump and President Biden's handling of the classified information.
Yeah, and Catherine, there are two lanes here. There's criminal and there's political. You talk about willful retention. I have a feeling that the phrase that will be mostly used will be elderly, well-meaning man having trouble remembering. So President Biden there said it's over, it's past him, he's not being charged. You rightly point out there are some damning facts in there about the retention of documents, but really moving forward, what does this look like after the special counsel has said that President Biden had trouble remembering when his term ended, when his son had passed?
Right. That was pretty remarkable and brings up serious questions that we've been discussing here in our programming on Biden's, whether it be his ability to lead. Obviously, this has come up many times, whether it's from Republicans, some Democrats, about his age. And really, in this report, and it's something, Phil, that President Biden did not address right there, again, focusing a lot on Trump. But it is something that his lawyers in a statement seemed to point out, saying that they disagreed with a number of inaccurate and inappropriate comments in the special counsel's report, seemingly referring to what you and I are talking about. His lawyers say, of course, nonetheless, the most important decision that the special counsel made were that no charges are warranted. But this is likely something that will continue to come up, obviously, on the campaign trail. Of course, former President Trump, the likely Republican nominee, is already capitalizing on just that, not really the willful retention, but capitalizing on special counsel Hur's comments about Biden's age and his inability to remember certain what would seem to be obvious facts here. So this certainly isn't the last we hear about that. And I'd be interested to see exactly what President Biden says on that, if anybody's given an opportunity to ask him that question. Yeah, it certainly will not be the last we hear of that. Catherine, thank you so much.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.